Hey there, it's Jen.
And Elka, welcome back to the Jen and Elka show, where we love talking about the print-on-demand platform called Zazzle, because we want you to succeed on that platform just like we did, selling $15 million plus on the platform, and our clients selling $165 million in total on the platform so far, 95 of it in 2024. So, because I had to put that stat out there because is the market too saturated is our topic for this video. And no, the answer is no. And we want to get into it. And I know I'm being a little brash, but hey, we've had that comment asked of us since we started teaching in 2017. And even back then they go like, well, is the market not too saturated? And since then we've helped people make $165 million in sales. And that's only from half the people that have actually been through our training and coaching, because we don't actually have the stats from everybody. So that number's actually an underestimation of what is possible on the platform. So it's not saturated. So we want to keep giving you some more sort of examples, case studies, so that you can feel a little bit confident that it's the right time for you to start and that it's not too late. Okay.
Yeah, because the one question you might be asking is that aren't there too many people selling on Zazzle, first of all, and then just Zazzle in general, right? And then also figuring out if you feel overwhelmed with the amount of people that are in your niche as well, right? And you might be thinking, is the wedding market too saturated? Is the sports or apparel market too saturated? And it honestly, Elk and I, we made a joke about before we started recording this video about how people have been saying the market's been saturated for the last 10 years, because the more people that are on Zazzle, the more competition, obviously, but there's also more people buying from print on demand platforms, and it's in a much more in demand than previous times. And so when there's competition, there's also demand, which is a good thing, right? It has to have that balance between competition and demand, supply and demand.
And the weird thing is like we probably said stuff like that ourselves when we weren't selling back in the day, when we didn't know what to do properly. And because we're kind of making stuff up in a way, because we're making excuses. Whereas once we got more into understanding what made a sale, etc., then we realized, oh, it's not that excuse, right? It was that we weren't delivering and being competitive. And as John said, when there is competition, there's more demand, and so flip it around. Allow yourself to say, "Hey, I can compete too," and there's more demand, so I want to have a piece of that pie because there's more than enough to go around. Right? There's no limit. It's not like okay, we've hit our quota for the month. Zazzle's cutting off all the customers. They're going to keep asking for more and more customers, right? They're searching for customers, and so you providing something that someone wants in the world, because they ship internationally, is going to give you that opportunity to increase the demand. So it can never be saturated. If someone says that to you, they're trying to scare you off.
Well, also too, I think that there's been lots of talks, like especially with Etsy. I haven't watched all of the YouTube videos, to be honest, because we're not on the Etsy platform. But how Etsy sellers are not selling as much anymore, and like has the Etsy platform changed and all of that stuff. And people do also ask those questions about Zazzle, but Zazzle's thriving. Not only did they just release a bunch of new products to sell on the platform, they're regularly updating their platform, making it more easy for the seller and also the buyer. And their reputation has just been, pretty much, I would say, sort of flawless in terms of the printed quality of the products and just the customer service, and the seller, like us as Zazzle sellers, how much we get as support as well. And so Zazzle's thriving, right? And they're doing all this wonderful marketing externally and internally. And when you figure out where your niche is, that's where your initial research goes in. So then you can provide unique products within your niche that have your own unique design style to them. and also doing research for what's new, like not new and trending. We don't want you to just sell new and trending things, but if you're worried about if the market's too saturated, some of those products that have been on Zazzle were made like 15 years ago, because I still sell products that I made from 2010, 2011. And it was because I did my research to figure out what products would be selling on an evergreen basis, which means, year after year. And it was a popular theme and a trend, and also something that I could potentially sell many years down in the future. And so you're not competing with everything that's just new and flashy on the homepage, right? You're building up a business where you potentially can sell things that you made years ago and have them still adding to your income.
And yet, about 50% of the products that are always showcased on all the landing pages, and some of that is Zazzle picks those, but other times it's because they're popular products that they're selling. 50% plus is usually a client's product of someone who came into our training, and it's their products that are selling. Yeah, we just kind of go like, oh, that's so and so's, that's so and so's, that's so and so's,
Yeah.
that's so and so's, and it's like, yeah, and we're not just like, good job, Jen and Elka, you're being really good Zazzle coaches, but instead it's like it works. It
Mm-hmm.
works, and if people do the work, it works, and they're doing the work, and kudos to them, right? And I think that's better than saying, hey, I can't compete because the market's saturated. Instead, it's like, I'm going to do the work so that
Mm-hmm.
I can be competitive and get that go like compete at the right standard. And that's one of the things that's so critical in our Profit by Design Academy, is that we have these weekly coaching calls, and two of the calls actually are us taking a product that they've submitted and giving feedback on everything: the design, is it competitive enough? Are you meeting the standards? Do you have to push it a bit more? Is it like 60 to 70% done, or can you do some more with it? Or, yeah, this is finally, I think we're going to, be at the point where you can say that has a great chance of selling. And
Mm-hmm.
we look at the tags, we help you with your mock-ups, because that's also part of the deal, right? Is you have to market it properly, and mock-ups, the difference between a bad mock-up and a good markup is the difference between selling and not selling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then also selling through collections where you're doing cross-selling. All of these things are part and parcel to being competitive and getting in your like customers' eyeballs on your products.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's so many ways that you can control it, that you can't use that market is saturated excuse as a way to go like, nope, it's not going to work for me. No,
Yeah.
no. And just think about it, what I said at the beginning. Okay, we started coaching in 2017. $165 million later, and that's just based on what their levels are in their pro designer badge, right? It's even more because their pro designer badge is based on sales in the US. And then 95 of that was in 2024. So how can a market be saturated when almost more than half of the sales of our clients happened in 2024? It can't be. It's actually, growing. It's
Mm-hmm.
exponential. Okay.
Yeah. And
And
one
it's
thing
not
that
even based on a lot of people's products. Like, yeah, I think that's about, what, 300 people that we have we should really look at the number of people that we're using to make that number, to count that
Oh,
number.
yes. Yeah.
It's a very small, like, we have clients, and we do teach a lot of people, but in terms of the number that we used to get those $165 million, we should really check to see the total of who
How
that.
many people contributed to
Yeah,
that? Yeah, because
because
not
it's not a,
everybody.
it's not, yeah, it's not a lot. Yeah,
Well, yeah, and what you were saying is that not everybody who's a client of ours has submitted their information about how much money they've made.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So again, it cannot be saturated, because it's just, yeah, the last 7, 8 years. Otherwise, no one would have made that money. right?
Yeah. And I want to just really quickly touch on a point too about the saturation and how you feel maybe overwhelmed when you go to the Zazzle homepage and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't have these products and they're featured on the homepage. So that means that I need to be making them, and or my designs aren't up to par. And so now I need to figure out my design skills, or I'm not going to be good enough. And there's so many products, and plus all of them are really great, you know, designs that are over the top. This can lead to paralysis, and paralysis being that you then don't take any action and you decide not to, not because you don't want to, just because your body kind of shuts down. You're like, you feel very overwhelmed that there's all the things that you need to accomplish. And that's bringing it back to the reality is that it's not saturated if you do your homework, if you do the research to figure out what niche you want to be in, what product types are in there, and then adding your own skill sets to the creation of your product so that you can create it as uniquely yours, right? So you're not copying, because that's a big no-no, right? If all of a sudden
And
you come,
yeah, oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
oh, I was just going to say too, because if you feel like you need to copy other people's designs because that's what's selling, that's not what you should be doing.
Yeah, it doesn't pay, because in the one of the things that we've noticed, and that's bringing it back to those design sessions, that people are getting better and better and better because they're practicing, and they're allowing themselves to improve their skill sets. If you
Hmm.
just go in there and copy something, then you're just getting the dribs and drabs of what other people worked on to actually establish certain designs and create a market demand for it. And I'm trying to get a drink here, but I didn't have anything in my in my cup. But so that, think about it that way. Think about it, and I kind of lost my train of thought with what I was going to say, because now we're working on what Jen said. But it's not a matter of, oh, I know now what I was going to say. Um, each person, even when they come in and we give them an assignment that each of them have to do, like a business card, for example, each person is going to come up with a really cool design that's completely uniquely their own. And then what you do is you get the coaching help from us and go like, okay, now that you've got the unique part, which is totally yours and it looks cool, and I bet you other people would love that, but obviously we can't make any income claims, then we help you get the pieces that are also part of it, that need to be part of it, that we know sell, right?
Hmm.
If it's like a QR code or a photo, or it has to have a logo here, or like, and we're just sort of giving you some examples, and you probably have no clue if you haven't looked at business cards. But I just wanted to say that there are options that we know, if they set up the cards for this example correctly, then they're going to have a better chance of meeting the customer where they're looking, right? They'd want that. And you may not know what that is initially. And because of that, you're feeling like it's too saturated, I can't compete. But if you deliver on the competition, and you bring it to that level, and then you add your own unique sweet sauce to it in terms of what you can bring as a design, like you decide to do a different color scheme, or all of a sudden you're using a monogram, or that's not someone's copied monogram. Like, don't copy mine, please. Thank you very much. But that's what ends up happening, right? Is you design something that's unique and different, but you're still delivering. You're definitely going to be competitive, and it won't matter if the market's saturated or not, because that's what Zazzle's all about. It's they're looking for unique designs. You can never saturate a market where the customers are looking for unique designs, right?
Hmm. Yeah. So if you're looking to get some help with, you know, increasing your sales potentially and understanding what it is to sell on Zazzle, then we have a really great live event for you. It is at the time of this recording, just let me check here. It will be the last day to sign up, because we are doing March 25th to March 28th, 2025. Each of those days is the same event. So you can just choose which day you want to attend and the time slot.
Do you want to
And
put the banner up?
the banner. Yeah, I can do that. So this is our free masterclass called How to Amplify Your Zazzle Sales in 1 month. And the link is in the description below. And like I mentioned, if you were watching this after March 25th or March 28th, sorry, unfortunately, you're not able to join because we're no longer doing that event. But if you catch us before then you're able to sign up last day because we want to help you move forward with your Zazzle business. That's what we love doing. Elka and I are super
And
passionate.
And if you're watching this before we close the doors for good in 2025 on the Profit by Design Academy, then go to elkaclark.com/start and scale and get in before the doors close. Yes, we're doing this very cool cohort this year. Usually we let people enroll whenever they're ready, but we're going to bring people through in one cohort. It allows us to do a lot of cool extra personal reviews and more touch points with us as coaches. And we usually charge $1,000 for private coaching for 1 hour. And you get to get into this program and you get group coaching for a whole 8 months. So join us. Don't miss it out. Don't miss out on this, because after this March 31st deadline, 2025, you'll be regretting that you didn't join us.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much for
Do
watching, and
either. Do
click
either.
the link. Oh,
I said do either.
do either. Yes. We're jumping on top of each other. Yes. And click the link in the description to get access to more information about the PDA coaching program and also sign up for our masterclass. Bye.